see it in my little 3-year-old kid. I see it happen when he was 2. I bring him around social situations, and all the black males are trying to educate him how to be hip and to be direct. He comes, they say, give me 5, give me a high five, and he's doing all this stuff. Right? They don't do that to the black female children. Watch it. They do not do that to black female children. They ain't teaching the 2-year-old black female children how to give them 5 and all the hip and all this other stuff. They're doing it to the black males. And I'm talking about black middle-class men, lawyers who are doing this to them. Socializing them in a particular way with the kind of style which may get them in trouble. You ever notice that black males walk differently than black females? Now, when you think of white males and white females, say walking, you don't tend to say, oh, they walk differently. There's a male. But what about black males and black females? How does a typical inner city black male walk? I mean, you see him. I mean, it gets him into terrible trouble. Cops always stop him for walking suspiciously. And you know the walk to the bounce. Why do they walk that way? Why does the black female walk around? Something's different is going on, isn't it? In what they're dealing with and the socialization process. But the walk is dysfunction in the society. It gets them arrested. Now, I'm not saying that it's right that they should be arrested or that it's fair or anything else. I'm saying what it does or what happens. Because if you talk to, we get in these discussions, they ask me to consult with policemen, white policemen and so on, get in discussion, and you take up the case, you say, now why did you stop that black guy and arrest him? They say, well, he's walking and acting suspiciously. You say, well, what was he doing? And they will come up with a walk that they describe as suspicious behavior. See? There's something, and it's defiant, and it also feels to them to be aggressive, the walk, and they get afraid. And some of y'all see a brother coming down the street walking like that, you may walk the other side of the street because you think something's going to happen because it's associated in some way with being aggressive, being criminal, being suspicious, being a mugger, that we've all been indoctrinated with that. So the police saw and they react that way. So that how then a black male is being reacted to in the society, the kind of, say, feedback that they get is different than a black female, which then in turn affects him. Right? The kinds of aggressions we feel, the microaggressions are very different. Mine are different than the black females. We don't think about it, but it's true. That certain things are more likely to happen to you as black ones, and that's why sometimes we don't understand. So we don't say a big concern of black women because they have been raped historically and literally is that they like to be treated with respect. It's a big word among black women. And so that one of the things that would offend them, really offend them, is that if you're walking down in downtown Peoria, and if a group of white guys drove up in a car and said, hey baby, how much you selling for? You would be totally outraged. That would be the thing that would really get. And that happens to black women. Not uncommon for that to happen to black women in the cities. Now, the kind of things that I would have to deal with would be leaving the building at Harvard Medical School at 8 o'clock, it's dark out, and I'm walking, leave the building, and back of a white secretary who knows me, but she don't know I'm in back. And she's walking down the street, and it's dark, and she turns around and she sees my black face. She grabs her purse, clutches along the side, and starts walking real quick. What I'm saying is that's more likely to be an experience of a black male people treating him that way, then it would be a black female, wouldn't it? Right? She ain't going to clutch her purse and start running when she sees a black female face. So in all these subtle ways, and I can go on and on and on, that our psychological way in dealing and interaction with society is a different experience for a black male to deal with a policeman than a black female. Now, you have to know that. Black males, half the time they're dealing with policemen, are worried about being killed. That they're worried about making a move that will get them beaten or killed. Black females ain't thinking that. And it's because of the history of their relationship with police. And Richard Pryor, one of the sons of this great city, I mean, he always puts that in his shows. He says when a policeman stops him, he doesn't go reaching for his cigarette lighter or matches or nothing inside his coat, because he knows that that will be grounds for being shot. Partly because the police are paranoid about black men. They are afraid of black men. And so they are worried and also actively sometimes want to control whatever's going on in their head in relationship to blacks. So you have to be careful. Black females are not thinking that usually when a policeman stops them. In fact, they can work their thing on. If they feel that the white policemen see them as sexual objects, they can use that to get out of a ticket by flirting a little bit, whatever, and they do. Black men can't flirt themselves out of a ticket. Now, I'm not saying, you know, white men and white women too, and they have similar things, but it is different. Very different. There were, Gene, there were white civil rights workers, females, who had this technique in the South for getting out away from the policemen that used to crack me up, and it used to work all the time. When the white state troopers would stop on a highway, you know, they would spot one of those civil rights cars and so on, they would pull them over and say, lady, do you know you were speeding? And they would look up at the white state trooper and they would say, yes, officer, I have diarrhea. Now, you would have believed it worked every time. The policeman was not going to get in a discussion with no woman about their diarrhea. It was against all Southern gentlemanly codes. And they would get embarrassed and say, okay, get off. And they would leave those women alone. And they did that to the policemen. Now, because they knew it would work, and they knew part of the Southern style to get away from it. The black males would do other things kind of collectively known as tongue, and they would explain, and they would have in stitches how they got away from some of these policemen. You know, who stopped. The policemen would stop them, and if they knew how to play the game, the policeman would stop them and say, you know, you were speeding when you went to that stop sign. They would say things that we would think were ridiculous that would work. They would say things like, well, officer, yes, you're right. My mama told me never to lie to a white man. They would say things like that to him, and the officers felt flat and would say, oh, you are good. Negro, whatever it was.